You need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable and like always live in a state of enjoying being in like pain.
Having to pay someone multiple six figures to stare at Zoom half their work week is absolutely insane.
Side hustle is like an insurance policy for your thing not working, which is just like ludicrous. Like I'd rather go bankrupt.
Hello, rascals, and welcome back. I am so excited to jump in today with my new friend, Garrett Campbell. He is the CEO and founder of Objectionly, and this is going to be a game changer for your sales calls and your conversions. You know me well, friends. Objections aren't real. And we all know that. What it is, it's the decision-making process of someone's brain. So our job is to guide people through the decision-making process to either a yes or a no. But what do we never want? Maybes. And with that, Garrett, welcome to the show.
What's going on, Michelle? I'm so glad you had me here.
I cannot wait to have this conversation with you. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about how you got here today. CEO and founder of a SaaS platform. You're helping other sellers now, other founders close more deals. But like, how'd you get here and what gave you the idea?
Depends how early we want to start. I mean, in fourth grade, I was knocking doors to shovel snow and like mow lawns and stuff. In my small hometown, I was flipping MacBooks, like computers and stuff in high school. I was flipping shoes in college. I have a very untraditional route to how I got here. And I never imagined to be running a SaaS company. Like I think most people who run SaaS companies. But basically, when it comes to, Objectionly itself, I was running a sales recruiting business called HireSalesReps.io. So we had placed like 500 sales reps into like hundreds of different like small to mid-sized teams. And basically the problem that we saw was we would place a great sales rep into a team, but when they had one sales manager managing like 15 sales reps, they're like, oh, this sales rep isn't good. They're not performing. And I'm like, okay, like, are you doing one-on-ones with them? Or are you reviewing their sales calls? And they're like, they should just be good. And I was like, well, sure, but like they're a new employee. So like this person isn't good. We need someone new. And then I'd place that exact same sales rep. And obviously we'd make sure, give them a new sales rep, whatever, but we'd place that exact rep into another team that like, frankly, had their shit together, on the sales management side of the equation. And they're like, he just closed 300 grand in deals in his first month. Like he's already on the top of the leaderboards. Like this guy's awesome. And I was like, okay, there has to be something that solves for this. So I became a psycho and I interviewed like 100 founders and sales leaders that we were actively staffing because we were staffing 300 teams at the time. And I was like, what's your revenue per sales rep? And what do you do when you onboard someone? Like, what's the process? And basically the highest revenue per sales rep teams were doing like 20 hours a week of manual call review. And which is normal, right? A couple hours a day.
I know. But just if you think about it, it's just torture.
It's like a 200 grand a year sales manager spending half of their working week watching Zoom calls. Like there has to be a more efficient use of time here. And then naturally the lowest revenue per sales rep is like, we listen to like a couple calls a month per rep maybe. And I was like, okay, well this needs to exist. But what was interesting was, we briefly mentioned, Gong, prior to recording, is all these companies were like, we have to hire so many sales managers as we're scaling sales rep headcount because we're just spending half our time just like staring at Zoom calls. Like this is insane. And then we talked with Gong and they were going to quote us like $500,000 for the year. Like we're an insurance company doing $5 million a year. We don't want to give 10% of our revenue to a software. Like this is insanely high. So they were trying to like duct tape together, like, okay, we're going to have a call and send it to Zapier, do a little ChatGPT thing and send it into our Slack. And I was like, there has to be a solution. So that's what made us basically build Objectionly. It's like an AI software that watches over your sales calls like a sales manager would and grade them and break down why a deal didn't close, what they should have done better, or stuff like that. So,
all right. So the nugget that I'm going to choose to double tap on here for our conversation. So I have been the person who has to review those 20 hours worth of calls per week. And you are 100% correct. Like having to pay someone multiple six figures to stare at Zoom half their work week is absolutely insane. So before, the companies that I help are not typically enterprise level yet. And so Gong was also completely out of the price range. range for, for any of the companies that I help as a fractional CRO. So it's funny that you were talking about like all the Band-Aids that you did, because I totally tried to hack it. And I was like, okay, this is what we could do. Not because I didn't want to work, but because that is the least effective use of my time as a sales leader, is to stare at all those calls. Now, a couple of key ones per week that we highlight and we train on 100%. But you know what I love about what you have created is that it not only speeds up the success of the seller, but it gives them agency over their ability to be better, and not always looking for a sales leader to hold their hand and to tell them what to do, because sales leaders really should be spending most of their time in a strategic leadership role, not listening to calls. So Garrett, tell me about all of the things that Objectionly can do.
I would love to. So
share with me.
I would say one of the biggest features that people love the most is like, you've been here, so like you get it. And I'm sure all of your audience does too, is like, if let's say, I doubt this would ever happen, but let's say Michelle's close rate takes a dip over like March, and we're like, okay, sales leader managing Michelle is like, why is this happening? Normally you're like, okay, let's like cherry pick like 4 sales calls, sit down, they're 45 minutes long, bring out my pen and paper. I'm going to sit down. It's 45 minutes a call. So this is what, 3 hours. We're going to sit down and listen to them. And really, when you're doing all of that, you're just trying to find like, what is the thing that's like stopping deals from closing that Michelle is doing wrong? And then take notes on that and figure out where that's happening. So it's like, out of the whole 3 hours doing that call review, there's really like 4 different like 5-minute moments of where your actual benefit from call review is happening. So what Objectionly does is it'll be like, okay, this deal didn't close because of this decision maker objection. It happened right here at the 38-minute mark. You can just tap the moment and then watch that.
Oh, I love it.
And it's like, here's why it didn't close, and here's what have been said differently that would lead to a deal to close. So you can shave call review time down by like 90%, 80% by just going to the moments that matter and just watch those or listen, in platform.
Yeah. I mean, that is so powerful. I remember, I did have one client that was using Gong. So I was using it at that time, and I would so that I wouldn't have to stare at Zoom anymore, I would go on like a 2-hour hike on my phone, listening to them and like tagging where it needed to change and all of this stuff so I could like get out of my office. And I mean, that was like a very funny time in my life. But, let's go back to a little bit of the agency, because I'm all about producing and retaining high performing top talent. And anyone that is serious about being a seller, if you're not learning, if you're not looking for feedback, if you're not trying to get better, well, you're a loser and you aren't going to succeed in selling. Hate to break it to you, you should go do something easier. So people who are obsessed with selling should be obsessed about getting better and learning, right? So can you tell me a little bit about some of the interactions you've had with the sellers, not the founders and management, of how the platform has helped them in their day-to-day become that elite seller?
Yeah, absolutely. So essentially, like, as you know, the best sales reps are like psychotic about like, how can I get better? What did I do wrong in this call? I know this deal should have closed today. Why did this not happen? Like, what did I do wrong? I thought it was going so smooth. So essentially they'll end their day and they'll be like, okay, I know that deal with Garrett should have closed. It didn't happen. Like, why? So they'll go back into their call and they'll see the core reason of why it didn't close. And then they can obviously watch back those moments, but it'll also show like per week, per month, per day, per whatever, like what is the biggest blocker for deals not closing. And then also like you can upload your sales scripts and like customize the call scoring framework. So it'll show like, depending upon your sales process, but like, how well did you do your intro and building rapport? How well did you set the agenda? How well did you uncover pain? How well did you like every little nitty gritty objection handling pitch, whatever. So like it'll grade each section of the call. So they're like, okay, I got a decision maker or I got a price objection, but really I didn't get any pain out of this section. Like it was really weak. And that's why the value wasn't there. So it's a price objection, but like really this was symptoms of the problem earlier in the call. So then they can just watch back, like, how did I do that pain section? And then in weeks where I had high close rates, how did I do the pain section, and watch those moments? And then they can parallel, like, I need to be doing this differently.
Yes, I love that. And, I also think it's important we bring up that you were an elite seller yourself and you're still selling stuff. And so it's not like, what drives me bananas, and it probably drives you bananas as well, is when people go into like ChatGPT without priming, without prompts, and they're like, how do I overcome the time objection? You know what I mean? And News alert, everyone. ChatGPT is mostly sourcing from Reddit. So unless you're going to listen to Gabby1234 for sales advice, I really don't recommend it. So Garrett, tell me about how you built the brain behind Objectionly and, what methods and source material is being fed in order to give them these types of answers and support.
Yeah, I wish we were a ChatGPT wrapper. It'd make my life a lot easier. No.
Right?
There's a reason it took 4 months of development to actually bring this to even our first, beta customer. Because I've thrown a call transcript. Why did this deal not close? Throw it into ChatGPT. And you're like, okay, that's really generic and not helpful. So basically when we were building the original product, luckily I'd been running a business for 4 years and we were psychos about sales management and marketing calls and all this stuff. So we had 30,000 calls from my sales recruiting business of sales calls. So we had those all manually marked. So that was our original training data. But then we're like, okay, we don't need this too skewed to our exact sales process, the exact way that we do things. So we essentially got 100,000 calls in total from insurance companies, from mortgage companies, from any professional services. We got a CPA firm to put some of their stuff in, and some B2B SaaS companies. And we essentially I had to manually review the first 5,000 calls, which was really intense, and basically mark this is why the deal didn't close. Here's an objection. Here's a pain point. Here's a buying reason, and manually mark it. And then that got it 80% accurate. And then I don't know if you want me to nerd out this hard, but I will.
Yeah, no, we're nerding out. We've already gone down the nerd channel, so there's really no turning back at this point.
All right, cool. We'll still have a little mischief, I swear. So basically from there, we hired an offshore team. Basically, once they got 80% accurate, to where we had to verify once we put more call data through, is this correct? If you watch the call, read the transcript, is this actually the reason it didn't close, or is it actually an objection, to verify the accuracy was there across a variety of different industries. So that took 3 to 4 months outside of all of the actual development of the product itself.
Yes, I love that so much. And I think it's really important that everyone knows that you're not a ChatGPT wrapper, because that is a really, not you're going to throw down a beat, everyone, but it just means you're using Chat's brain. Okay. And so that's fantastic. And I love that talk about some founder grit to go through 5,000 calls on your own and bookmark them all. But I can only imagine, I'm going to go in and log in after this episode. I'm going to do my 14-day trial, and the links are in the show notes so that you can do yours. And I'm really excited to see what the Garrett brain brings back that's different than everything else that's out there in terms of AI. I can remember, so the last time, I really wish you existed or I knew you, about 18 months ago, because I did this huge project for a local co-working space here in Utah, and 15 locations. And unlike most remote selling, this was not a remote selling environment. They sold on tours. They were essentially selling office spaces, right? So having to train a distributed team, and most of them were focused on hospitality versus I'm a selling machine. So just to share with you, one of the hacks I did was I took Otter.ai and I put it on all of their iPads. Then I programmed within Otter AI to answer all of my questions after the recording, so I could see where the deal went well or the deal failed. And it took me months to get this right. Months. But once it was done, it was amazing, and it would automatically go into HubSpot. It would be in the notes section, and it would tell me everything I need about the deal. But right now I'm on your website, and it looks like you have every plugin and API possible. And I can only imagine what that would have done to next level, that application. So I think that the applications of this are way beyond just, I'm a remote seller and I sell a program or a consulting service or, anything. This can be used in so many ways. I'm actually curious. Okay. So I know that you have investors, and, a lot of founders grow with other people's money. Have you used your own platform to record your pitches to see if it works the same way?
Yeah. So what's funny is in the beginning, I didn't. And then I had an investor be like, is Objectionly running right now? Can I see it? And I was like, let's have another call and do it again. But no, it actually does now. It's funny. So what's cool is you can upload obviously multiple scripts for closing deals or setting, but some people use it for recruiting or different things, which is really interesting. So I actually uploaded like calls I had with VCs or angel investors or family offices where like they actually obviously cut us a check. And I use all those transcripts to make like a script for like how I run the call. And now, yes, basically short answer, we are doing that. So it's really interesting. We get objections all the time from investors. So.
Oh, I'm sure you do, because most of the time they say no. Like it's a most of the time kind of thing. So I'm like kind of geeking out on this. Like if I was fundraising right now, then I would record it on there and then I would send them a report and be like, do you think the platform was right? You know, like, and then they're like, yes, maybe I will invest now. Right. So anyway, I'm just like geeking out over it. To me, it's almost like an influence coach in your back pocket that you can use for, you know, a lot of different applications, but that's just kind of how I geek out over this kind of stuff. So, okay, let's talk about founder life for a little bit. Revenue Rascals is all about building businesses, going against the grain. And I'm curious, how does it feel to be fundraising, to be a SaaS entrepreneur now? And it sounds to me like this is about your fifth business. So how is it different? And tell us about the challenges and all of the things.
Yeah. So I guess as far as how it's different, like my last business was a service-based business. And, you know, this is now a software company. So what's interesting is like, you know, when you in a service-based business, like you can change what you do for clients in like 2 seconds. Like you just do it, right? Unless you have a massive, complex, you know, client success team, and then you got to coach them, whatever. But it's like, it's not hard. If someone's like, hey, I want it to do this one thing, like one thing that we're actively building right now is basically to be able to have like AI role play to where it's like deal doesn't close because of this reason. You can replay the moment with an AI voice and actually like role play and do mock calls and stuff, which is cool. So it's like we had this one mortgage company. They're massive. They're the fastest growing mortgage company in America. And they're like, hey, we'll close. We'll work with you, but we need this AI role play feature that you likely mentioned. And I was like, why did I say that? So it's like in the sales recruiting business, it's like, cool. Yep. We'll add that to the contract. We'll start working on that the second payment goes through. Here, it's like, okay, let me like have my dev team not sleep for 2 weeks and like let's code like crazy and see how fast we can get this done. Like you can't iterate on, you know, product and service as fast as you can when it's a product or like in a service or consulting or whatever. So like that is definitely one of the biggest differences. Fundraising is very interesting. I've bootstrapped everything that I've done. Like I sold my last company. And fundraising is a different beast because you think talking to VCs or investors that you're like, oh my God, there's these like huge business moguls that like know everything about business and like they've obviously ran sales teams that know exactly what I'm talking about. And then come to find out, nothing against, you know, investors. Like some of them are deeply experienced business owners, but a lot of them came out of college, they worked in consulting, and then they moved over to private equity, and then they moved into the venture capital world. So a lot of them haven't actually ran businesses. So it was interesting learning, like, I can't just assume they know about running sales teams and the problem we're solving. I have to go down to like a third grade reading level. And I'm like, okay, this is what a sales manager does every day. And this is what they hate about their job and what they do and what's frustrating. And it's like, this is what we're solving at like, again, like a third grade reading level. So fundraising has been extremely interesting and just understanding the whole VC game. And they speak a totally different language. And sometimes like what they think is cool is not what investors care about. So it's like, you have to make sure you're serving your customer and not the investor. But it's very interesting, the whole fundraising game. So. Yeah.
And I heard you mention family offices. And I think that family offices are actually a really great opportunity for a lot of companies. And I think it's kind of overlooked, generally speaking. But just for everybody listening, family offices have different expectations on the return amount and time duration for investments. So depending on what your company goals are, it could be a really good angle. So Garrett, just generally speaking, like what advice would you give people who are interested in maybe going the family office route versus VC or equity?
Yeah, totally. So there's different routes of where you can get capital, right? You can go for angel investors, which are primarily either very like rich, well-off 9-to-5ers or just a business owner who just gets it and has some cash sitting around. And it's like a side hobby type thing for these people. There's VCs, which essentially means, they're raising capital from other investors that just don't even want to go talk to people because they have too much money. And then they raise money to go give money to companies actually raising money. And then they have to provide returns for their investors. Family offices are just incredibly wealthy families that they have so much money that they have to create a business out of just managing their own money, right? So like as an example, I've talked to the family office for Ryan Graves, who was the first CEO of Uber. Like he's now worth $1.8 billion and he has a family office called Saltwater. So I would say if you don't want to, when you raise from VCs, there's now a clock in their heads and in your head to where it's like, okay, we need to, what is it? Double, double, triple, triple, right? So it's like, you need to literally double. And if you're growing at 1,000% a year, they're like, okay, well, Cursor went to 100 million in this time frame. So it's like, you're not going fast enough. So it's like, if you want to raise a pre-seed, a seed, a series A, a series B, a series C, and you want to be on that hamster wheel frequently raising money, and you are going for a hyperscale billion-dollar company, absolutely, like VC is the route to go. But if you're like, I want to raise maybe a round, like one round, like maybe two, family offices and angels are phenomenal because they're ecstatic about, you know, raising at 10 million and selling at 100 million, or raising at 5 and selling at 50. They're ecstatic about a 10x return. Like that is life-changing for them. For a VC, it doesn't cut it. Like they need a billion or bust. So that's what's in it for them. And also they need markups on every round. So they don't care if if you raise money at, let's say, a $10 million valuation, and now you've went from $1 million in revenue to, you know, 40 million in revenue. They're like, okay, well, you need to raise another round so we can tell our investors that you're now worth this much money, even though you technically are. So it's like, there's pressure to raise more rounds and grow insanely fast. Whereas like for us, like we really only want to raise like one round and not raise again. Like I'm used to being capital efficient. So that's why we're going the route of primarily family offices and angels. So that's kind of the game and how stuff works.
Yeah, I mean, it makes so much sense. I think that if I was on that path, I would probably go down that side as well. I mean, it's like a 10x return. That is great. Like, come on, people. All right. So the next thing I want to talk about, which I think is a really hot conversation for SaaSpreneurs right now, and that is the pricing model now that we're using so much AI. So just to explain to my listeners right now, if you haven't been listening to, if you haven't listened to all the episodes, you need to go back. We did a whole thing on AI pricing. But Garrett, I'm curious how you are doing it in real life, because, you know, the other one was theory based. And because for everyone listening here, what happens is when you build a SaaS platform that uses AI, then you pay for tokens or AI in the background and that it can get really risky for the company. And if you don't price correctly, you could really lose a lot of your profit margin. So Garrett, I'm curious how you decided on your pricing model, knowing that could impact.
Absolutely. So we're primarily selling to like SMBs and mid-market companies. So we're not, as of now, selling to enterprise. And, you know, when I interviewed, you know, those 100 people, like, yes, it was market research for the recruiting business, but I was also like, I'm kind of ready to build my next thing. And I was like, okay, this is what I'm thinking of building. Like, how would you want it to be priced? How much would you pay? Whatever. And the biggest thing that I got, which was really interesting, is they all hated per seat pricing. They're like, we hate when we're like, okay, we're going to go from 10 sales reps in Q1 to 20 sales reps in Q2. It's like now our software bill is now doubled across the entire business. That kind of sucks, right? So for us, like you said, you know, we use APIs from, you know, Claude and all types of different, you know, AI, platforms. So our fees go up as more calls get processed. So, we essentially do pricing based upon call volume. So as more calls go through the platform or get analyzed, essentially our fees go up. So our, you know, cost and our costs and our pricing kind of just go parallel with each other.
I love that. I think that was really smart, because I also have noticed that the price per user is just not liked anymore, especially for companies who are in like scale mode or grow mode, or they're small enough that it just is like an irritating thing. So I love this. I was on your website and I saw how you priced it out. So it's like up to 100 calls is the starter, 250 growth, scale is up to 500. And so I feel like that was a really powerful way to give people the value that they want, and not have to worry about, you know, all of the little things and all of the different users. And another thing I think it does, Garrett, and I'm wondering if you ever thought of it this way, is it makes the platform super sticky, because no one doesn't have access. So people within the company, like let's say they're negotiating a sponsorship, for example, like my team sells sponsorships for this show. they should be using that along with my sales team. So I like the flexibility a lot. And I'm happy to hear that the way that you were able to analyze it with all of your APIs into AI, that you can still monetize it. Okay. So my next question is, there's a hot trend right now in product-led growth. And Dave Boyce here in Utah is a huge educator on it. He's fantastic. He has a book called Freemium. And I just really enjoy my conversations with him. He's been on the podcast. So he is like gung-ho on free forever versus the 14-day trial. And so I am curious, from a business owner perspective, like why did you go 14-day trial versus forever free? There is no right or wrong answer. I just love to hear this.
Yeah, totally. I think freemium makes total sense in like B2C environments. Like I don't know too many B2B softwares that have freemium. Can you list any? I don't know if I could. For B2C, I could list hundreds.
That's actually a great question. So let's see here. I'm going to ask Claude.
Go for it.
Okay. So I did a quick search. Now, listeners, Garrett, I have not verified this. Okay. This is live, right? This is what we have. So top B2B SaaS companies with free forever plans: Slack, Zoom, Dropbox, MailChimp, Canva, Trello, Airtable. These companies often see 8 to 10% of users convert from free to paid. Some also do reverse trials where users get full premium access for a limited time before downgrading to the forever free plan.
Yeah. Okay. That's what Monday does.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There's more than I thought. Now that I think about it more.
This is like actually kind of fun, right? So, cause what I like about this is when I'm looking at this, where it says that, these companies see an 8 to 10% of users convert from free to paid. That's a fun stat for me. Now, I know you're fairly new, but I'm sure like the platform is fairly new, but I would love to know if you have any details on the conversion from the trial to paid.
56%.
Okay. So mic drop, right? So then like if you think about it right now, if it's only 8 to 10% and then you're at 50 something, I can't think of the argument against the freemium model shift.
The only way that would make sense is if they get 5 times more traffic from being so low friction that the math still works out. Or I guess the brand being bigger because there's more people and it's lower friction. But like, I don't know. It's a hard argument to make. I think for something so cheap, like some of the softwares that were listed, like Canva is like $20 a month, I think. Like you really have to just open the floodgates to everyone and play the volume game of customers, whereas we can get, higher LTV, but that's why we do what we do. But that is honestly really interesting to think about.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I want to talk about that. You said 56%, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So what does your sales process, Garrett, look like when you have somebody come in with a free trial? I would love to know if your product is doing most of the selling or if you have a team that's going in and make sure they would convert.
Yeah. So our founding head of customer success actually came from a company called SEMrush. So he was their first client success hire 8 years ago. And then he built out the entire department, all the playbooks, everything, managed the whole team, did all the recruiting, trained the whole team. And then they sold to Adobe for $2 billion in November. And then we snatched them up. Essentially like people come in for a free trial. Our platform is like incredibly easy to use. Like honestly, we just took all the feedback from what people don't like about Gong. And we just reverse engineer that into our product. So our entire platform can be set up in like 5 minutes. You literally connect your call recording software. You filter out calls that are non-sales calls. So like if your title is like demo in your thing, then all calls that don't have that title in it automatically, filter them out. So you don't have any random call data, like internal meetings, stuff like that. You set a time limit. So if it's like a no-show or if it's like a cold call and then they immediately are like, F off, like don't talk to me, like hang up. Those don't count. We price on calls. So if it's like like a cold call that ends in 20 seconds, they don't want to be billed for that. So we filter that out so it doesn't charge them. So it takes it's incredibly fast to get set up. So more times than not, right now, I'm a nerd about data. We have like 60% of people without speaking to a human are fully setting up the whole platform correctly, which is awesome. And then, about 40% of people like, Ryan is dialing, dialing every customer within 5 minutes of creating a free trial to do a free setup call. So we just set up everything for them, just make it as easy and frictionless as possible. And then within that 14-day timeframe from a sales perspective, we're working to get people on annual because we have benefits for going annual. There's a 25% cheaper if they go annual by front loading the cash. And then we have tons of benefits on top of, that. So that's kind of the sales process. And then we run a ton of ads to get customers through the door on the free trials.
Yes. I mean, that's how I found you. You came up in my ads. That's actually how I discovered it. So good job. It was on Instagram and I'm like, ooh, what is this? And that's how we ended up connecting.
Very cool.
Yes, that was a fun. So the 56% is incredible. So tell me right now, like I know that you're pushing affiliate, which is fantastic. And I love affiliate sales. So everyone listening, this product is amazing. I am now an affiliate for it. Links are in the show notes. So is that your main growth tactic right now as affiliate and paid ads, or share a little bit about like what your own go-to-market strategy is?
Yeah. Ads are, I'll say about 75% of the way that we're growing right now. I've spent over $1 million of my own personal money on ads, like Meta ads and Google ads. Like I know like the back of my hand, like that's what I'm great at. So ads is a huge driver for our growth. And then apart from that, organic content is definitely a big piece of it. Like affiliates is surprisingly like 5% of our revenue. It is relatively small. But yeah, it's ads and then it's organic content and then events are definitely a big part of things.
Ooh, let's talk about the events. I want to hear what events are you doing?
Yeah. Events are interesting. So what's funny is the day that we went from, like in development to like, actually it's like, hey, we can go like sell this thing now. I was like, let's go to an event and let's just slang some deals. So literally the day of that event, everyone's like, oh, like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, I just sold my company and I'm running this thing now. And like, oh, what is it? And I explain it. And it like literally just spread like wildfire. We got like 20 customers from that event of me just, talking and kind of doing my thing. And I was like, well, that was cool. My CAC is literally a flight and a hotel. Like, let's do this again.
Cool.
Like that was awesome.
CAC that all day.
Of course. Absolutely. I'm like, I love traveling anyway. I guess this is awesome. This is a great life. But no, so, I spoke on stage, like a good percentage of our customers are like mortgage companies, lending companies, funding companies, like any world of finance where they're giving money to people. So I spoke on stage at an event where it was all funding, lending companies, mortgage companies, different stuff like that. So it was a room of 100 founders. And I just spoke about how to take sales teams to $1 million a month. And then obviously I just incorporated in my speech, like how to use Objectionly as part of growing the sales team to $1 million a month and beyond. So it's just really natural. And for some reason, like, I think when you're pitching like consulting or a service, it feels salesy, but when it's software, it's just like, oh, it's just like a software. Like it's not like salesy. But I literally just threw up a QR code. I'm like, free trial, just get it set up now. It takes like 5 minutes. And I just kept going and kept speaking. And we just got a good amount of the crowd to convert from that. So it's either me speaking on stages, going just as an attendee to an event. I do tons of pitch competitions in Chicago for like fundraising events or SaaS events or whatever. I've won a couple of them, which is fun. And then what we're going to start doing is sponsoring in-person events as well. Like we have tons of insurance customers. There's a lot of big insurance, events. So like having our logos everywhere and just having a little 5-minute part where maybe I don't do a whole speech, but I'm just like, this is what I do. We're the sponsor. So that's something we're growing to.
Oh, I love that. So I think that for me, when it comes to what you just said right now about when you're selling services or your personal brand or, and then you start to feel salesy. So I know that you've sold a lot of, programs, for coaches and consultants in your time. And I've coached people to get over that feeling salesy and like slimy feel. But, I have never felt that way selling like one of my services or my programs or whatever. But I think it's really natural. And I'm curious, why do you think that is?
I think, or at least just because some of the people that were speaking were selling their own like personal coaching and stuff. So it's like, again, like I don't think people should have that feeling, especially if they're selling their own stuff. Like if you believe in what you're selling, nothing about this should feel salesy or like I'm getting the better end of this deal here. So internally you shouldn't feel that way, but I think it's just when it's like, I have to like prop up like me, like this is how awesome I am and what I'm great at. So like, you should give me money. Versus when it's like, it's not me. It's like this platform over here. Like go buy this thing over here. I think it just feels so removed from the person. And I think it's just so natural for business owners to use so many different softwares. It just doesn't feel the same, if that makes sense.
No, I would 100% agree with you. And I actually think it's also easier sometimes for sellers to sell other people's programs, consulting and coaching. Because once again, it's that arm's distance, right? So it's just been really fascinating to me. I don't think I have, well, I know for a fact I have not listened to as many sales calls as you, but you may be the first person I have ever met that has listened to more sales calls than me. So you win, Garrett, on that one.
I'll take my trophy home.
Don't listen to your sales team's calls. Have AI do it for you. Objectionly is an AI software that's been trained on over 100 sales calls in over 13 different industries, and it can tell you why your prospects aren't buying so you can increase revenue. Turn 3 hours a day of call review into 3 hours a week. All you have to do is connect your existing call recording software, and you can try it for free today. Objectionly is an AI software that reviews every sales call to deliver the truth about why more dials aren't turning into set appointments and why more demos aren't ending in a lovely wire transfer. You can see each rep's biggest problems, the moments in every call that it happens, and immediately click into these moments to watch them. Get every sales call scored against your sales script to see what went wrong in every dial or closing call and what needs to be done differently to improve. No more sales call marathons late into the night when the numbers are bad to find the issue. No more asking sales reps what their problems are and getting opinions instead of facts. Just clear insights on how the team is doing in seconds without spending hours doing call review. Go ahead and cancel your 3-hour time block on your calendar for call review today, because in the next 5 minutes, you can upload a sales call and immediately see why your reps are losing easy to win deals. If you want this for your sales team, click below and watch a short 3-minute video on how it works and try it out on a free 14-day trial. All right. So another thing that's in like the current news right now, which I think would be really fun to talk about, and it's Anthropic walked away from a potential $200 million deal for the DoD. And I just think this is really interesting to be watching this because it refuses to loosen the safety guardrails on its cloud AI model in order to do it. And I also think there is a level of integrity and ethics for anyone who's selling something AI, yourself included. You're having all kinds of things inside Objectionly, right? That could potentially be private. So how do you feel about this? What are your thoughts about what Anthropic did?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. I'm a dude, but I've never been so excited about drama in the world. It was awesome. So yeah. So for those who don't know context, Anthropic was actively working with the federal government, military, DoD, whatever. They had an active government contract, and their only two rules was we will not do mass surveillance on American public without them knowing, or just in general. And number two is for autonomous weapons, as in like a human is not running the weapon, we will not use Anthropic Claude to actually decide who is shooting and who is killing with this machine. Like those are our only two rules. You can do everything else you want to do. And then the US government was like, no, you have to change these two rules. And if you aren't going to change these two rules, I don't know the exact language, but basically they were saying like, not like an act of terror, but like, you're against U.S. interests and you're putting Americans at risk by not breaking these two rules, which I think is crazy.
Sounds like gaslighting to me at the grandest scheme.
Oh, yeah. So what happened is they're like, we're going to stick to our guns here. Like, we're not cool with this. So they're like, okay, you're no longer working with the U.S. government. You now can say bye-bye to $200 million. And then obviously there's 3 other options. Like they could do Gemini, they could do ChatGPT. Like they have a few other options. So they go to OpenAI and they say, hey, we need to not have these guidelines. And then allegedly public facing, I think OpenAI must be great at PR. They said that they didn't change those 2 clauses, but they did win the contract. I don't know about that, but now apparently they've waived those 2 things, but now they're working with the US government. So it's like, do you think, I think the answer is obvious. Do you think that they just said that and then obviously didn't listen to those 2 rules and they're just free reign with the US government?
I mean, absolutely not. Sam Altman absolutely must have conceded on that. It does not make any sense at all. And that's another reason. I mean, when people find out about this, like, great, OpenAI, you got a $200 million contract, but guess what you're losing? 200 million individual users that pay you $200 to $250 per month because nobody wants to have surveillance on themselves. And that's going to be the natural fear that that's what they've conceded to do. So, wow, it is just the times we're living in, Garrett.
And if I'm the U.S. government and I want to do mass surveillance on the entire United States public, I would use the platform that has the most US users that are consumers, which would be OpenAI. So I think it's pretty obvious what's happening here. Like, Claude is more for business owners, developers, like people that are in the nitty gritty of AI. Like, Claude is a better model, in my opinion. I use it for everything. It's what we use for our software. But yeah, I think that's what happened. I know that's what happened. But crazy news.
It is crazy. I would equate this to like a geopolitical tech war, if we're really going to go there. I mean, it's actually quite frightening. And I am like a capitalist as far as it goes. Like, I am like a constitutionalist, libertarian. Like, you can just put all those terms on me all day long. But when it comes to things like this, I do think that there should be some type of government, some type of standards, because, you and I know what's going on, but most people do not. They're just your regular everyday person. So have you put thought into it, like back to Objectionly, like how you will make sure that you stay at a high ethical bar? Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, for one, we have moved more and more of our stuff off of OpenAI immediately from hearing that onto Claude, because I just don't know, what they're going to do with data. And I'm not going to put our customers at risk with that. Right. So for one, like, all of our data is stored inside of a SOC 2 compliant database. Like, we work with tons of insurance companies and mortgage companies. And like, in most of those calls, they have a social security number that's being dropped, especially in any loan related stuff. They're saying that in the actual call. And in Medicare calls, there's a lot of legal things that come with Medicare and things you're legally required to say, and a lot of private customer information that's extremely important to stay hidden. And we have tons of customers where all of their sales calls, even the fact that they're having a conversation, needs to stay private. So all of those sensitive information, like credit card numbers, social security numbers, any HIPAA compliant, Medicare, whatever information, is all encrypted. So literally, if you look at the transcript in Objectionly, you just see like the little asterisk signs or whatever. So like all of that stuff is hidden. And then, yeah, our data is impossible to get access to, and it's all in a SOC 2 compliant database. So that checks a lot of boxes for a lot of people. So yeah, that was going to be what you got my question before I could even ask, was it? Because when you mentioned the channels you're going in and the industries, I was like, oh, that's like a lot of sensitive information potentially. Oh my gosh, I love it. All right. So I'm curious, what would, you've been along your entrepreneur journey. I don't know how old you are, but you're definitely younger than me. I'm just going to say it. So I am curious. Yeah. Did you just say 25?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I am 42. You are. Yes. So you're amazing and you're crushing it at such an early age. And I love seeing that. Like, I have a 13-year-old son that has a lot of entrepreneurial ambition, and we're really trying to nurture it. For the summer, him and his buddies are going to set up like a home services business, and, and they're going to hold each other accountable, because these 13-year-old boys, it's like they're excited for something one minute, not the next. Right. So I'm curious, what would you say to, like, let's just say, how would you inspire my 13-year-old son or somebody right out of college and be like, hey, I'm 25 and look at what I've been able to do. Like, there is more than one path in life, and like, this is the path I chose. So like, what would you want all those like young men to know? Yeah. I mean, I will say I did not like grow up rich by any means necessary. Like, I did not have a silver spoon in my mouth. I grew up in a town of 5,000 people. It's where like the epitome of success is like getting a welding job. It's like blue collar, small town USA here. So getting like a welding job to where you make 80 grand a year and have a company truck is like, this is the peak, right? So, and it's just such a bubble that you live in. Like, you have to figure out how the whole world works when I left. So I will say that, number one, like, education doesn't end when you complete high school or if you go to college. Like, education never stops. Like I'm 25 and like, not to pat myself on the back too hard, but I have accomplished a good amount of things in a short span of time. And I've surpassed some people that are far older than me. And I think like, you just can't stop learning stuff. Like, you have to always I got a wall of books behind me, and I've probably spent a good 150 grand on different mentors and masterminds and coaching, and anything I can get my hands on, I'm buying. So
like, number one, ignore the stigma that any of that stuff is bad or whatever. Like, it is phenomenal. And you just have to learn nonstop and be obsessed with learning, and constantly you need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable, and like always live in a state of enjoying being in like pain and like stress and like pressure, because it's actually fun, because you're growing. Like, when life gets stagnant, life gets boring, and I get like very antsy when I'm not like doing something really risky or like hard. So I would say never stop learning, and then like just be conscious of the people that you're around, and like always be around people that are better than you and doing bigger things than you, because there's always something you can learn from different people. And also just like obvious, like start selling immediately. Like, no matter what you're doing, sales will be beneficial for you. And if you know how to sell, you'll never have to worry about money for the rest of your life.
Oh my gosh. I could not say that any more than what you just said. Like, I actually think, like, I have gone to my local school district and been like, can I please teach the high schoolers how to sell? Like, you teach them all this other stuff like marketing and business and, you know, apparently dissecting a frog. But what everybody needs to know is how to sell. It's like, come on, we've got to do this. Now, I love the idea of everyone learning to sell, and I like stamp that one. One thing I want to go into though is drive. Like, your commitment to, I will succeed no matter what, regardless of the risk level, regardless of the stress, but this is the drive. So my question to you, Garrett, were you born that way? Did you always have the drive, or did you develop it over time?
I would say I always had it, but I would say I lost it when I was doing things that weren't mentally stimulating to me. Like, I am very high ADHD. But it's also like, I don't think it's like a disorder, like a fault. I think it's a superpower if you know how to channel it correctly. And like, my first obsession was sports, and I was just like, okay, I'm going to like lift 3 hours a day. I'm going to train 3 hours a day. I'm going to eat all the perfect food. I'm going to only eat clean food, like only drink water, like no soda or anything like that. And like, that was all my obsession really poured into. And then I graduated high school, and I was like, oh no, like, where do I like channel this? And then I went into college, and I was like, this is boring. Like, I went to college for chiropractic, and I'm like learning about the history of India and like religions and culture. I'm like, okay, I need to learn how to like crack a back and like make money as a chiropractor. Like, what am I doing here? So all this energy just got like pent up, and I was like, maybe I don't have drive. Like, I have nothing to like channel this into. And then I found entrepreneurship, and I was like, oh my God, okay, I found my thing. So I would say I always had it. I just needed the right channel for it.
Yep, I would agree. And I think it takes people with ADHD a little bit longer to find the channel, because like, quite frankly, I have ADHD. My son does. My daughter probably does too. So it's genes and all the things. But you have to be okay with trying new things until you find your thing. And that's what I keep telling my son. I'm like, it's okay. If you try that, you didn't like it, then you're going to try something else, but you're going to go all in every single time to make sure you either love it or you don't. And it's okay if it takes you a little bit of time, but you have to keep showing up. And I think that's the biggest lesson, because people get discouraged. They try one thing, and then it's like, oh, that didn't work, or not that it even didn't work. It wasn't in alignment. So that's part of high performance, is being in alignment. It's not actually the working hours. It's the working hours doing things that you're not supposed to be doing.
Yep. Totally.
Like 100%. Okay. So we are coming towards the end. I have a couple more questions, and we'll get to our favorite one at the end. But before we get there, I want to know, what's one belief about business or growth that you strongly disagree with that most people accept as absolutely true?
I think the idea that you could do multiple things and be successful at them is insanity to me. Like, there's the whole like a millionaire has 7 streams of income or whatever, and like, I just think it's all bullshit. I think like, if you actually want to build, like, Objectionly will be a $1 billion company, and like, we will sell for north of $1 billion, and like, that's the dream, and like, that's the focus, and that's what we're after. How am I going to build the best product on the planet and get the most customers and have the best team where they do everything right in every detail of everything that they do? And then like, have a chiropractic office on the side? Like, what is insanity? I think like, there's so much level of detail and work and time and attention that goes into building a $1 billion company or something massive. I think that to diversify focus over anything else is absolute insanity. So I'm very against doing anything else besides like one thing. I think it just conveys that you have a lack of belief in like the thing that you're doing.
Mic drop. I couldn't agree with you more. And that last sentence actually was the most profound that you said, which is that you're not going all in because you don't actually believe that it is your all in. So you're diversifying until you can find your all in. And I think that is a really huge takeaway for this episode, because a lot of people who enter entrepreneurship are multi-passionate. And so they're doing like 50 different things at a time. And, that's fine if you want to test, but then you have to go all in on something. And if you don't, and if your focus is distracted, or I would always say like, you have to go deep on something. You can't just go shallow across a bunch of things, right? Because you're ineffective. And so typically who I work with is scaling founders, and they hire me to typically grow out their first sales team. And then I evolve into a CRO. And every single founder I have ever worked with, and it's expensive to hire someone like me that can afford me and do these things, is so focused on one thing, and it's this or nothing, and there is no going back.
Yeah.
It's what it is. You have to do it, people. Focus. Find your thing and focus so hard. That's the lesson.
100%. Yeah. I mean, a side hustle is like an insurance policy for your thing not working, which is just like ludicrous. Like, I'd rather go bankrupt.
Another mic drop. I mean, Garrett, we're going to have some great bites on this one.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up with the last question that I ask every single one of my guests, which is, what is the most rascal thing you've done in business where you disrupted, broke rules ethically, or innovated in a way that just absolutely shook things up?
So I, actually just did this. So I am actively raising money right now for Objectionly. And I really want this one guy to invest. I'll just say it out loud. I've already been talking with him. His name is Mark Roberge. He's the founding CRO of HubSpot. He took them from zero, no sales team to like 120 million in ARR all the way up until they IPO'd. And number one, I think HubSpot would acquire Objectionly in the future. And number two, this guy's awesome. I'm obsessed with this guy. He's so cool. He has a book out. Everyone needs to buy it. If you run a SaaS company, it's awesome. But I want to have a meeting with him. So what I did is I just flew to San Francisco, and that's where he lives. So I flew to San Francisco, and then I messaged him and emailed him, and I emailed everyone on his investment team. And I said, hey, I'm going to be in San Francisco for like 3 days. I'm meeting another investor. If you have some time, like let's meet up. Like, I'm going to be here, and then I'm going to head out. Like, I'm here for another meeting. I'm not here, for you. And then I got a meeting with him. So I think just flying to the city and having a very tight time frame to make something happen, and saying like, I'm not here for you, helped me get the meeting. And I've done this multiple times for big customers or investors or whatever. And yeah, like, I think it's pretty insane to just like fly and do a whole trip just banking on, without messaging or contacting this person or having a meeting or having any way of ever speaking to them before. And then just being like, yep, I'm here for something else, but I'm here. Want to meet up?
Oh my gosh. When there is a will, there is a way. 100%. I love that. I listen to My First Million all of the time, the podcast.
Oh yeah.
I really like that one. You love it too. Okay. And so did you hear that? I forget which episode it was. But they were talking about how you go and you visit, all your ex friends in San Francisco. So you follow these like ex people, Twitter, everyone. Okay. And then you go to San Francisco and you're like, the kind of a similar thing to what you said. It's like, hey, I'm only here for a little bit. Like, can we meet up? And the acceleration of deals being made by just showing up is huge. And it's huge. And you're a digital marketer. I'm a digital marketer. I love the internet. Don't get me wrong. Right. But I think that the takeaway here is that you still need to go shake hands and make deals. Like, that is how you're going to get that $1 billion company. You have to leave your house. And you've said it 10 times in this interview of how many times you are out there building your brand, building the story around Objectionly, getting users on the platform. And I just want to make sure everyone's listening to that, because I think there's a lot of lies out there that you can just hit all of your goals through digital marketing. And I don't truly believe that. And there has to be other layers to it. So I love that story. I hope you email me when you land his money, because I think you're going to do it.
We're working on it. We're almost there.
Amazing. So Garrett, is there anything that I forgot to ask you? And then please share with the audience where they can find you and get their trial.
Yeah. No, this was phenomenal. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm Garrett Campbell on all social medias. I post on every platform, so you can find me anywhere. And then, if you guys want to try Objectionly for free, just go to objectionly.com. In the top right, there'll be a little start free trial button. You can set the whole thing up in 5 minutes. My client success team can like literally set everything up for you. And on top of that, and then we have 25% discounts if you do go annual. And there's tons of cool benefits that come with that. We do weekly calls in a community of all the founders that are using Objectionly if you go annual. So tons of cool stuff there. But go to objectionly.com, get your free trial, and go make some more money and save some more time doing car review.
I love it. And I'm going to throw in something for my listeners because that's just how I roll. This is the deal, guys. If you go and not just the 14-day free trial, but if you convert to a paid user for Garrett, then I need you to email me at hello@michelleterpstra.com. And I'm going to organize a series of group coaching calls for everyone who signs up using my app link. And there will be absolutely no charge for those calls. We can talk about sales, marketing, customer success, or any growth needs.
Let's do it. Maybe we have Michelle on as a guest speaker for our weekly community calls too.
I would absolutely love that. I am super passionate about what you're doing. I've been in the shoes that it solves the problem for. And thank you for coming out with something that is affordable and effective for the small scaling company.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, everybody. That's a wrap. Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the six-figure strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpstra.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.